friends, it's Daphne with Revolving Dragonfly, the channel that brings you to joy and to the light by challenging you to open your mind, shift your perspective, and dig deeper into your own understanding. So today we're going to talk about the tower. That's right. I know you're like, whoa, bring me to the light and then throw me the tower. If you find any value in what we've shared today, comment below, let us know. Subscribe to our channel, click that bell icon. You'll be notified of any new content that we publish. But today we're going to talk about the tower, so what you need to know about the tower is it has traditionally been connected with disruption and upheaval, drama, or what I like to call the noise, right? It's the stuff, the distraction, the whatever's going on to keep you from focusing in on yourself and what's best for you. It also is known for sudden change, and on this channel we embrace change. So let's talk about how this is going to change us. Right now in the world in 2020, as this video is being created, many people around the world are experiencing the pandemic of the coronavirus. It is a pandemic, and it's something that we do want to think of seriously, but we also want to ask ourselves some questions. So if you shift your perspective of the Tower card, one of the things that you can see is that this is a card of change. This is a card of divine timing, divine intervention. And it also is a card of breakthrough. So what does that mean for us in today's time during this pandemic with coronavirus? I want you to think about if you are experiencing social distancing, if you're experiencing isolation and staying at home. In the last day, a couple of days, last week, how has this affected you? How has this drastic change, this upheaval in your entire physical life, how has it changed you? How has it changed your daily schedule, your work schedule? How has it changed your commute? I mean, do you love sitting in traffic? If you're working at home, you are not having to deal with your traffic issues, right? If you're in LA and you had to commute to work, like, how much time do you get back? Think about how this has changed your meals, your meal prepping. Do you take your lunch to work? Do you have lunch dates with coworkers, or do you meet colleagues during that time? How do you do breakfast? Have you been skipping breakfast and now all of a sudden, if you're at home, are you eating breakfast with your family? Are you eating better because you're at home where there's better choices for you? Like, I can tell you, in my house, it's changed our whole lives in meals because we get up, Dad's already at work, even though he's working in the house, and everybody's getting their breakfast at their own time, making it themselves, and the kids are going to school via Zoom, right? Over the internet. Think about that. How long has the internet been around? Like, I know since maybe 96, 95. Maybe not in the same way it is now, but it's been around. And we're now using that technology to the fullest in the world of education globally. I'll come back to that. Anyway, so how has it changed your dinners? What are the differences that you've seen in these patterns, right, of your life? What about the things that you use? Your usage, your consumption, not just of food, but of like goods, services, resources, tools, energy. How has it changed your use of time? What are you doing with If you don't have 2 hours of a commute, what are you doing with that time? You know? So that's a whole upheaval in your daily schedule. And not to say that an upheaval is a bad thing. Why do you think this currently has affected you and changed your schedule so drastically? Are you looking at it from the standpoint of, I hate change? Or are you looking at it from the standpoint of, I just got 2.5 hours back in my day and I get to spend it with my family, right? Or my dog, or my cats, or whatever. What have you noticed in the changes of behavior patterns in yourself? Okay, in your rituals, morning routine, evening routine. Are you going to bed earlier? Are you sleeping later? What about behavior patterns in your family members? Is it creating more tension? How is it affecting your intimacy with yourself or your partner? Is there more communication? Is there more physical touch with the, your immediate family? Is there less? Anything that has shifted, I want you to think about that. I'm a water sign. I'm highly connected to water, and I've probably upped my water intake in the last 2 weeks because my body has been craving it. What do you think that says? What is the lesson we are to take from those changes? And are we resisting them, or are we embracing them and taking advantage of things that we haven't been able to do? What is the message or the lesson we are able to take away from this experience? What is your tower moment? I can tell you my tower moment. It was a clear picture this morning. This morning, when that tower flipped out of that deck, instantly I knew today's the day. You've said you're going to do something. Your guides have been pushing, have been asking, have been saying, if you don't do it, we're going to get the heck out of here. When are you going to do what you're supposed to do? That's what they asked. And boom, tower card this morning. It is time for me to come out of my spiritual closet and be of service to the world. My biggest fear has been, what will I lose when I come out of the spiritual closet? Isn't that ridiculous? To me, that's ridiculous that I would be concerned with what I would lose. I have so much to gain from this experience, and why wouldn't I want to share it with all of you? It's been almost 4 months since I put out my teaser, join me in 2020 video. 4 months to get this dragonfly's butt off the ground. But it happens in divine timing. And that is my tower. I wanted you to join me this year because I wanted to talk about, where did my spiritual awakening start? I will tell you this. There is a spiritual awakening and there is a spiritual emergency. And if you don't know the difference, I will give you a link in the description box below of one of the people I consider a mentor, and she describes the difference so well that I would much rather you watch her describe it. All of my life, the signs have been there. All of my life, my guides have been right next to me. My angels have been right next to me, trying to give me the signs, making it very obvious to me, but I wasn't awake. I wasn't seeing it. I couldn't. There was so much work I needed to do. I couldn't see it. My spiritual emergency happened when I was having such severe anxiety in the corporate world that I couldn't function. And I lost a lot of friendships. I lost a lot of work relationships because of it. It's something I decided to do. Many of you are like, wait, you're in the corporate world? I thought you were a teacher. So let's talk about that. In 2017, I left teaching. I went to the corporate world. And then in 2018, I ran into this roadblock of anxiety. I had to take time for myself in 2018. And then in 2019, I had another spiritual emergency. My guides just kind of eased me into it. I was slowly attracting people into my life who were going to be a mentor, who had information, who my guides connected me with so that I could open my mind, so I could shift my perspective. The work slowly began. Serendipity kind of, played. It was very joyful. It was very light. So, Daphne, pay attention. Daphne, look at these signs. Daphne, notice this. It was all very angelic is a good word to describe it. In 2019, another emergency. It was like just a slap across the face, really, like a spiritual slap. It was a serious, okay, it's time. It's time to get to work. You're gonna have to dig deep. You're gonna have to figure this out. And I didn't know why. If you say so, and then I would reach out to my mentors and they would kind of guide me. I would ask questions. Okay, so what about this? And I always had people around me, my soul sisters, my mentors, my guides, my angels, who were there to love me, protect me, and guide me along the path. There's a beautiful short story connected to Native American literature when I was teaching. It was called Coyote Eyes. And that's what I think of. It's just it's time to wake up, right? For the awakening. And then that second slap was it's time to work. You need to get focused. You need to figure out your purpose. And we're not here to tell you. We're here to love and support you. So get started. What happened with teaching? You just left? Yeah, I just left. I taught school for K through 12 public schools in Texas for over 21 years, different school districts, different schools, different grades, all in the English language arts realm. And I loved it. I loved teaching. I loved the students. I loved connecting with people who were like-minded in the passion and the driven instruction and just those light bulb moments, with kiddos. The thing that weighed me down was the red tape, the bureaucracy, the politics, all behind the scenes. I was seeing that old paradigm of what school is. It just wasn't working. I was making the connections. I was building the relationship. We were not reaching kids. And from the very beginning of my teaching career, I have always said, when I get to that point where I no longer find joy in teaching, I'm done. I'm not going to be one of those teachers who is miserable, who makes everybody else's life miserable, and who's waiting for retirement. That was just my philosophy of how I wanted to approach that career. I was at that place. And I had been for several years, I would say probably 7 years, easy, trying to find my way, trying to wake up. Every 2 to 3 years, I would try something different in the summer. Well, what about this? And it was that creativity that I needed. I needed a spark of some kind. That passion just was dying at that desk, right? The tower moment in that is, I have kids right now in my home, my kids, who are experiencing their own tower moment with school. And let me tell you something. Some of my kids at home didn't like it. They don't. They've been doing it for about a week. They've been using Zoom. Some of them love it. And one has been really resistant really just, I just want to go back to school. I just want to see my friends. I just want to go back to the school building. I just want to do school normally. Normally. What does normal even mean, right? Emily, we're here at the end of the week and they are loving it. If my kids are loving it, that means other kids are loving it. We finally are using technology that's been around for over 20 years in a way that sparks that passion in kids. They loved seeing their friends on Zoom, being able to talk, being able to type, being able to change their virtual backgrounds. We've been needing a shift in education, a whole reform. So my question is, what does this mean for education? Where are we going to be 6 months from now? Are they going to be sitting in a school building? I don't know that they should be. There are going to be some kids who have experienced bullying, discipline issues, have experienced just anxiety, depression, being singled out, being different, not being accepted in the physical building, where at home, doing their work, creating their own schedule, having time to feed their passion, doing what they want to do, how in the world can they go back to that? So I use that example to ask you, 6 months from now, just put our blinders on and go back to our life as the way we know it? Are we woke? Are we awakened? Do we see things in a new perspective? Are we open to the idea of meeting kids where they are? Are we open to the idea of meeting employees' needs where they are? If you can work at home right now, if your job, if your business, your company can allow you to work at home right now, and there's productivity and you're doing your job, why can't you do it 6 months later? If we're doing it to accommodate pandemia, then why can't we do it to accommodate the needs of our lives, of humanity? What shifts do we need to make? How can we prepare for what comes after the pandemic? I think about the archetypes, the hero's journey, if you will. If you know those from either literature or Carl Jung, or the tarot deck, you start with 0, the Fool, right? You go through the entire hero's journey, or all the archetypes in the tarot, and you end with the World, right? The Fool's card is 0 in number form. The World has a wreath, right? It has the world and it has the wreath in it. And so the symbol is also there with the O, the 0, the circle. We come full circle over and over and over again, okay? We revolve. The world revolves. All of that revolves around the sun. During this tower moment, how are we going to use this time? All of these shifts in our schedule, in our meals, in our school, in our work. Do we just go back to the way things were and that old mindset, that old paradigm, that old perspective? Or do we use this time to prepare for that cycle, that shift? And do we shift our perspective to a new perspective, to be more open-minded to what is more beneficial, not just to us selfishly, but to us connected as one, to the collective, to humanity? Do you have a sense of readiness? Are you ready for post-pandemic life? And it's almost like you need to Embrace your child, your inner child, your childlike spirit. And it's like having a new book or a new car smell. You know, like who doesn't love that, right? So having that childlike perspective, intrigued by new things instead of afraid, instead of resisting change. We can do this together. What should we be doing to be ready? We should be seeking. We should be seeking adventure, right? Adventure, which is also our purpose, our whole life. This physical life is an adventure. We're supposed to be driven by our purpose. If you're not driven by your purpose, especially right now, because this is giving you enough time to think about, am I doing what I want to do? Is this my purpose? Is this my life's passion? If it's not, what is? Take that time to figure out what it is and then do it. What's your passion? What's your joy? Where do you find your joy? What drives you? What is your happiness? What is it that swells the love in your heart? How can we help? How can we be of service? How can we be connected in a time where we can't touch each other, when we can't hug each other, we can't shake each other's hand? Find your way to connect. I will go ahead and say I'm not a doctor and I'm not a lawyer, so there's my disclaimer. Here are some things I recommend that you do during this time and may help you with anxiety, it may help you with some depression. I have some activities that may help with these things during this time. Okay? Use this time, use that extra time to read a book that you've been wanting to read that you haven't had time. And if you're not a person that wants to hold a physical old paradigm book, like there are apps for that. Hello. Reconnect with your family, your immediate family that you live with, right? Play some board games, play some cards, play dominoes, or do some fun things. Go on a scavenger hunt with your kids in your backyard. You can go outside, go for a walk, go for a run. Just go outside and sit in your grass, right? Just be careful, be mindful, stay your distance, don't touch the playground stuff. You need that physical activity. You need to move. Your body is made of energy. Meditation, bringing that calmness within you. Some grounding activities like being outside, getting dirty, getting the dirt, right? Mow the yard. You know, you might find old hobbies that you used to have. If you have like bags of yarn, you might want to crochet or knit. You might get out the sewing machine. I got out the sewing machine and started doing some sewing yesterday just because I have a creative bug. I'm like, I gotta have all this time. I need to do something. Bring out your joy. Bring out that passion. Bring that mindfulness to your daily life right now. You could clean. You could organize. You could go through, do some spring cleaning, or you could go through your closets. I have this friend I spoke with today who was feeling very anxious. Said, so you're not in some kind of group on Facebook, or you don't have a way to connect with the members in your choir? And I'm like, why don't you guys do a live or get on Zoom where you all are singing together and just put that out there for the world. You miss them, you miss your singing, come together. You can connect without touching. I want to pull a card before we go, so you have an opportunity to have some direction in what is in your highest good. So for everyone watching, whether it is in real time or a different time, this is from the Nature's Whispers, Nature's Whispers deck, oracle cards. The artist is Josephine Wall, and the author is Angela Hartfield. Okay, and one more pass. Oh, there we go. There it is. They pop out, they shift. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, here we are. Make a decision. Make a decision. Well, how will you use your time? Beautiful. I challenge you to come out of this with an open mind, a different perspective, and to dig a little deeper to your own understanding. And as always, we're here to bring you to joy and to the light at Revolving Dragonfly. Have a good day.